Hi, Kelly Della Salle here with my good friend John Maxwell. John, welcome.
Hi, Kelly.
Good to see you.
Good to be with you, too.
Good. John, I really would enjoy to hear your insight on the value of the John C. Maxwell certification program and becoming part of the team to people who are in that industry of training, of consulting. One thing that just popped in my mind, we now have that Maxwell leadership assessment tool. So there's a good place to start where we give them that for them to evaluate a company first. But then they have to go into a company or go into an organization and train. What do you think is some of the value that we give to them?
I have a wonderful friend that I call WB, who is probably one of the top 50 golf coaches in America. Okay. And WB and I were on a plane flying to a ball game one time, and I asked him, I said, well, talk to me about your training. When you have a person that wants to play golf and you're going to coach them. And he said, the first thing I have to do is, he said, I have to know what they want out of, what their expectation is. Okay. But he said, the second thing is I have to know what their capacity is. Mm. And and the reason I said that is when you talked about the evaluation program that we use, things that help people with their training, is all's well that begins well. Right. And one of the things we're going to do at the John Maxwell team is we're going to help you begin well. I mean, we're going to help you understand who you're dealing with and what the expectations of they are, but also how to know them and be aware of what they are. Because you have to coach them to the level of their competence and to coach them to the level of their capacity, which means you coach and train people totally different. From a 1 to a 10, if you're training me and I'm like a 4, I'm kind of a little bit below average, you're going to train me entirely different than in Kelly. If she's a 7, she's above average. And so we help you become aware. We help you learn how to evaluate these things. And I learned early that there's a lot of difference between counseling people and equipping people. Mm. When you counsel people, you work with them out of their weaknesses. But when you train them, you work with them out of their strengths. And I think one of the things we really do in the John Maxwell team is we really help you not only identify what your strengths are, but then help you to know how to find the strengths of the person you're working with. Because you will only improve people. If I'm training you, Kelly, I will only improve you by finding your strengths and saying, this is what we're going to work on. Right. Not finding your weaknesses and saying, this is what we're going to work on. Mm-hmm. And so I think we help trainers be much more strategic, and I think we help them literally begin to have the material, the training content material that they need to be successful. So we want to be a content provider for you, but we also want to help develop a strategy for you that'll help you be more successful. That makes sense? Really take the guesswork out of it. Yeah, because a person can go into a company and think about what they think that company needs, but that may not be reality. So you do the Maxwell Leadership Assessment Tool, boom. No question. You get the answer. That's your answer, and then that gives you the direction on what content that you should be offering. Now, I've spoken to a lot of trainers, and they develop content, okay? Yeah. And at some point, you can run out. And what does that sometimes mean, though, if you're working with one company and you've been training with them a year and all of a sudden you don't want to lose that contract? You want to keep going. Well, you can either spend, 40, 50 hours developing something new, or the John Maxwell team has, we give them 7 whole packages worth of content. Absolutely. And the secret, Kelly, is, to sustain training, coaching relationships is you have something on the table to offer. Yes. And so many people, I call them, they have that kind of I don't know, they're like Debbie Boone, who had one song, You Light Up My Life, you know what I'm saying? And it was a great song. In fact, it was #1 for a long time. And I like the song, You Light Up My Life. I'm not going to sing it. But the whole point of it is, she only had one song. Right. So she had her day in the sun, but she had a day in the sun. She didn't have a lifetime in the sun. Right. And I think a lot of trainers, that's exactly what they've got one good thing. And so they give that one good thing, and they've developed a relationship, but they don't have another thing to put on the table, so they lose that relationship. Yeah. I think the John Maxwell team comes and says, look, here are 5, 6, 7 different kind of training programs for you. Yeah. Now that you know which one of those fits best, it's yours. Yeah. You've been trained in it, go for it. And if you're pigeonholed into just sales training, why not do leadership training? This is leadership. Leadership is applicable to every single industry that's out there. So you can equip yourself literally with an arsenal. Now, I'm going to bring it up again, the brand name. If I'm looking at hiring a trainer to come into my company, and one guy is certified by John Maxwell and one guy is not,
I don't know. I'm sure I know who I'd pick.
Yep, it's an IQ test, don't you think? It's kind of an IQ test. And what I'll tell you what though, us saying that is one thing, but what you and I hear all the time from our coaches
Yes,
is
feedback.
Is it opened the door for
Yeah.
me? Once I was certified with John Maxwell, they looked at me in an entirely different way
Yeah.
than they looked at me before. And isn't that true with all of us? Association, that makes a lot of difference, whether it's a positive or negative. And so I think we add value to people by just, they've got our name.
Yeah,
It works, doesn't it?
absolutely. It does. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Kelly.